Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today, from popular request from the last video, thank you very much guys for the comments by the way. For being a small YouTuber, it's quite nice to see people commenting, people liking, so I really do appreciate it. A few comments were talking about going more into depth into noise reduction process for people who live in quite noisy environments, such as me I suppose. It's always helpful to learn a bit more about noise reduction to make sure that the environment around you is a lot quieter and your voice is a lot more boosted, so people can pay a lot more attention to you. So what we're going to do is going to go File, New Audio Track. I'm just going to call it Video for this sakes. I've been learning a bit more about sample rates by the way and how that works in terms of having 48 to 44,000 hertz if you're recording for an external monitor, an external audio source such as H4 Zoom or even your phone. It's always, I just realised what I've done. It's always a good idea to use 44,000 hertz when you're recording and when you're editing the audio, to make it a lot easier to synchronize. Say if you're using Premiere Pro or After Effects like I do, it's very good to use those because it actually makes it a lot easier to synchronize, especially with the presets synchronize tool that you have on Premiere Pro. It really does help you because it actually gets it perfect and it doesn't cause any problems when you're trying to synchronize stuff. So I would stick to 48,000. I'm going to stick on mono, so it's just one channel instead of having two inputs. Just want to record a little thing. Today we're going to be learning about how to change the noise reduction process and go a bit more into depth to mute your environment around you. As you saw there, I left a huge gap of just pure just environment, just so we can work on that, and that's how we use the noise collection process, basically, where it's you select this part of your audio, which is just pure environment, and then we can work from that and see what you're actually working with. So it's quite subjective. So for me, I live on quite a high floor in my flat, so the only real thing I have is probably rain, maybe my fans from my computer, or outside, people shouting, stuff like that. It's nothing too crazy. As you probably heard then, you can hear shouting outside. But if you just take a listen, not really much, maybe just a bit of wind, bit of my fan from my computer, nothing too crazy. So if you're living sort of, on the roadside where you can hear cars, that might be a bit more of a problem, so you have to be a bit more precise for what we're going to go into today. But people like me, it's just sort of a general mute. So what you're going to do is you're going to highlight this part here. Make sure you could even just do a whole recording of just silence, just so you can hear what kind of environment you're working with, and we can go from there. So highlight your little bit here. You're going to go to Effects, you're going to go to Noise Reduction, you're going to click Capture Noise Print. You can do a favourite for this if you want, but I don't really do that in case I'm changing environments or something happens, someone knocking on the door, someone coming in, people talking in the background, whereas the noise, the favourite that I'm creating here is just going to affect silence. I suppose you can make different ones, but it's really up to you. So what you're going to do is Capture Noise Print, click OK. And then you're going to do Command A or Control A for the Mac or PC, highlight the whole thing, and you're going to go back up to Effects, Noise Reduction. You're going to go to Noise Reduction Process. Now it's going to come up with this. I think last time I wasn't really sure what these dots mean, but I've highlighted over it now, and it just says the decibels that you're working with and the hertz rates. So you've got your threshold, which is this one here, which is quite high, and you've got your lows. And if I move this, you can see the highs and lows. Which is the yellow and the red. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your noise reduction, and you're going to bring this up to quite close to your highs, because the red is mainly the ambient sound, and we're trying to get rid of that. So any of these green dots, they shouldn't be touching this red. If your highs and lows are quite close, if you've got a very bassy voice and not a very high pitched voice, it's going to kind of differ. So you've got to kind of work on it. But you can see the dip here from here and here is from actually where I had that silence, so we can work around that a bit more as well. So try and concentrate on this area a bit more, but we're going to make sure is this threshold is not touching the green, but just slightly sort of forming an undercurrent for the, that's a cool word, undercurrent for the highs. So I'm going to stick it to about 64. Reduced by is just how much your threshold is going to reduce the things below by, so it's 11 decibels. So some of this stuff could be muted basically. You're This is a custom one, so you can do capture, noise, print for that part, but these is how you can work separate parts of it. So if you wanted to work a bit more, say you wanted to include, I don't know, a low, if you had quite a deep voice and you wanted to make sure they were in like that, but I normally try and keep it straight just so we can work off, I forgot where it was now, just so we can work off 70, just so we can work off that. It just makes it a bit easier for me. I'll leave it like that. So I'm going to click apply. As you can see, it changed this last bit quite dramatically. There is still a few little bumps there. That's what I call them, bumps, because my field is actually video camera recording or post-production. So audio, I'm still trying to learn myself, so it's always nice to learn together, but it's cool. So if you listen now, it's very, 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 very minute part of it. I'll turn the music off so you can hear that a little bit better, because it's very quiet. You can hear a few little bits, but it's fairly okay. We can always go back into that and just try again. If we get this one going. If I go back onto it, we can always edit it a bit more, so we might need to go maybe a bit higher, just so these are creating a bit of a stronger undercurrent for it. I like that word now. Do that, and then you can see that's pretty much muted. Now what we're going to do is listen to the audio, because we may have taken out some highs, so that could be a problem, but let's have a listen. Little thing. Today we're going to be learning about how to change the noise reduction process and go a bit more into depth to mute your environment around you. I mean, that was pretty good. Definitely this part here is completely gone because that was the print that we were trying to do. What we can do if we want to zoom in a little bit, where is it here? We can maybe see if we can find a bit of a different part to it, but I think that is mainly it. To mute your environment around you. There might be a little bit here that we might be able to get rid of, but the more sort of closer to go to your actual highs and lows, it could create a problem in terms of that it would either sound very tinny, like you're in another room, or it will sound where you'll remove your highs and it'll just be sort of some bassy sort of MLG bassy voice, which we don't want. So we go back over to here. So now it's capturing that print, and then we're going to try and just do that a little bit. So we have the noise reduction process and go a bit more into depth to mute your environment around you. So that's pretty good. I rated that actually. It's quite good. When it comes to using other effects, some of these are actually presets, so you can give it a go. If you've got an echoey room, you can use de-reverb, so you don't have as echoey voice if you're not living in sort of, I think they call it wet and dry, so if it's a wet environment it's quite echoey, which would be a lot of reverb, so this could be quite useful for you. For me, it's not too bad. There's not really there's carpet on the floor, there's curtains to absorb some of the audio, so it's not too bad when it comes to my environment. But remember, it's all subjective to you. Make sure that you've actually got you work out what kind of environment you're working with by doing the silent audio test and then working off that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see any more other videos that I've got, feel free to check and comment if there's any videos that you'd like me to make about audio and video. I could even do a whole one about working with audio and video together if you guys are into that. But thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for commenting on the last video. I do appreciate it. Take care, guys.